How to create momentum. This is one of those lessons that I sat through about 100 seminars before I finally picked up and understood. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jeff Gamble. I'm actually a traditional business owner, been a network marketer, and currently a John C. Maxwell speaker, trainer, and coach. And today what we're going to talk about is you creating momentum. Now, first, to be able to create momentum, you have to know the basics of being able to recruit and sign people up. And the basics of being able to recruit and sign people up are: number one, you have to learn how to contact people. Number two, you have to learn how to invite. Number three, you have to learn how to present. Number four, you have to learn how to properly close and ask closing questions. Then you're going to have to learn third party, and you're going to have to learn how to get people to events. You're going to have to go first, but then you're going to have to get people to events. So there are three things about creating momentum. Number one is, what is momentum? Momentum is that thing that makes you look better. John C. Maxwell actually has a great book, 21 Laws of Leadership. It's over here. And there's actually a chapter in the book talking about momentum. Magnetism, intuition, respect, law of E.F. Hutton, law of navigation. It's the law of Big Mo. And the law of Big Mo says, once I get to it, this is why obviously I didn't have this planned out ahead of time, or I would have had it turned right to the page. Navigation, maybe I should just look in the beginning, huh? Law of connection, inner circle, law of reproduction, law of Big Mo. Number 16. Momentum is a leader's best friend. One of the things I can tell you about momentum is it makes you look better than you actually are. It makes the people around you look better than you actually are. It makes things look easier to do than they actually are. There's a bunch of things, but when you find momentum, everything seems to just happen. Just miraculous things. But the question is how do you create it? Well, number one, there's three things to momentum. Number one is creating momentum. Number two is increasing momentum. And number three is maintaining momentum. How do you do that? It starts with you. Number one is personal momentum. How do you gain personal momentum? Number two is how do you gain group momentum, which is a small group of you doing it. And then how do you create team momentum? Here's how it works. It all starts with you. Number one is it starts with you deciding to create momentum. And what I mean by that is you create momentum by basically moving faster, momentum, meaning you start moving faster than everybody else. And what I mean by moving faster is you start talking faster, walking faster, you start contacting faster, you start inviting faster, you start presenting faster. This is just something that I was taught over a long period of time. Number one is the invite or contact invite presentation is I realized I had to become a great presenter. And what a great presenter does is they present all the time. You have to be presenting all the time. And you're like, all the time? Yeah, all the time. And here's just kind of a chart to know if you're presenting all the time or not. It starts with 15. 15 presentations a month means you've started the process. It doesn't mean you're good. It doesn't mean you're doing a lot. It just means you've started the process. I was told, and this is how I was brought up in the business, I was told if you're not doing at least 15 presentations, you're not in the business yet. And I know that might be harsh, but people are like, well, what is that 15 presentations? You mean 15 people? No, I mean 15 individual presentations in a month time. So basically every other day you're presenting. That's just to get started. And this is just what they told me. They said, can you drive a car at 15 miles an hour? I'm like, yeah. They're like, can you get anywhere? I'm like, well, not really fast. They said, exactly. The same thing is true when you're presenting. It's like, okay. Then there's this rule, the 30, the 60, the 90. When you get to about 30 presentations, your business is moving. Now, obviously, you can move through town at 30 miles an hour. If you move through town at 30 miles an hour, people know you're moving, but you're not really creating any buzz. But if you drove through your hometown at 60 miles an hour, well, you'd probably get pulled over. You're not supposed to do that. I'm just making an analogy. But if you drove through your town at 60 miles an hour, everybody would know who you are. And sometimes people don't necessarily buy into, the logic, but they buy into the work ethic. They buy into the speed at which you're going. You're like, man, this person's going so fast and they're so diligent. I just don't want to miss. Maybe they might pull this off. I don't want to miss out. And because people don't want to miss out, they'll join. It's amazing. So at 60 miles an hour, you are really going to crank. If you go at 90, which means you're presenting 3 times a day, it takes presenting 3 to 5 times a day to create absolute crazy momentum. Meaning you could start right now, I mean today, and I know it's like the 5th. Is today the 5th? Yeah, today's the 5th, Tuesday. If you started today, the 5th of April, and you ran hard for 90 days and you showed 90 presentations a month, not only will you probably be the #1 presenter in your company for all 3 months, you'll probably be the #1 presenter inside your market in every company you're involved in. And this is what it takes. Everybody has to make that one run, that one decision. And it's not just doing everything, although you're going to have to do a lot more. But how do you get to the point where you know how to do everything? You present. You present all the time. You contact, you invite, and you present. And that's all you really do. Now, Eric Worre talks about this. I was just told the 15, the 30, the 60, the 90. The 15 is what you get a bunch of people started with. You say, hey, I want to make a challenge out there to everybody. Let's run for 15 presentations this month. If you can get 15, then the next month you can say, okay, who's ready to up the ante? We did 15. Some of you did 18. Make a goal to do it. Give away a product. Give away cash. People love cash to say, hey, whoever does 15 presentations wins $30, wins $50. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but I mean, imagine 3 to 5 people on your team all doing this and showing 15 presentations. Are you going to get some new recruits? Are you going to get some? Yeah. I mean, so it's okay to use, it's best to use probably product in the beginning, but then you up it from 20 maybe to 30. You say, well, let's do 10 more, 30. Now you have some movement. Now you have some momentum. But here's the thing. I was told you always have to do twice what you want your team to do. So if you want them to do 15, you have to do 30. If you want them to do 30, you have to do 60. If you want them to do 60, you're going to have to do about 100 presentations. Why? Because people don't believe. When you decide that you're the person that's going to make momentum happen, you have to make momentum happen. It means you have to do twice as much. Your team will always do about half of what you're going to do. And your best people will do about half of what you're going to do. The rest of everybody will do half of that, which is about nothing. You say, well, I presented 3 times last month, which means your team is not doing anything. And you're wondering why your team's not doing anything. It's because you're setting the pace for your team. The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So you want to create momentum. You personally go out and do it. You want to create and increase momentum. Then you up the ante. You basically, you complete one, and then you say, okay, I completed that. Now you're going to complete the next. This is what I do in coaching. I say, okay, what's the most presentations you've ever presented? And they say, 5. I say, great. Do you think you can do 10 now that you know how to do 5? Well, yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think's better, 5 or 15? Well, I think I can do 10. Okay, then I'm gonna work with them at where they're at, and then try to push them farther the next month, and then try to push them farther the next month. Pretty soon, 3-4 months down the road, they're able to do 30 presentations. But if you try to ask them to do 30 day one, they probably will, I can't do that. They just can't see it. They haven't been through the motions to be able to do it. But once they've done 10, then they've done 15, they believe they can do 20, you can get them up to 30. And here's the thing, if you have a team and you think you're moving somewhere and you're not showing 30 presentations, you're probably not moving anywhere. So guys, that's really the lesson for today that I have. When I started showing 60 to 100 presentations a month, amazing. I became the #1 recruiter in, both of the companies I was in. I remained in the top, 10, 20 recruiters in the entire company for over a year. Why? I presented all the time. I mean, it wasn't special. It wasn't difficult. I didn't have, I wasn't born in a certain place. Nobody gave me a certain amount of money. I just went out and presented to a lot of people. Whoever, which meant you have to get good at contacting, you have to get good at inviting, and in some cases, you have to find a lead source. And that's not really for this talk, but sometimes you have to find a lead source. So with that, what do you think of this method? What do you think of this idea? Have you done it before? What's the most you've ever done? Put down what's the most presentations you've ever done, and what is your goal for this month to do presentations. Remember, you can't manage results. Results happened in the past. You can only manage activity moving forward. So what do you choose to track? You track presentations. Share this with somebody who needs it. Share this with somebody who, you want to see it. Like this video, and If you want more videos like this, connect to me at WorkWith JeffGamble on Facebook, WorkWith JeffGamble. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.